Anyway, welcome everyone. So let's get started here. Let's see what we have for some goodies today on the next slide on our Back to Basic. You remember we talked about the system, and the system is here to help you because there's a good saying if you don't realize how good it is to have a system, that if you work the system will work for you. And that is because we are working with people, we are working with human beings. We are not robots yet, thank God. So people are people, and we have this thing that called duplication, which if you've been working in this industry for a couple of years, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And duplication is, for if you're new, is that people tend to do what you do, not what you tell them to do. So this webinar is also a beginning on for leaders. You know, we call it a pre-leadership webinar, because everyone has to become some kind of leader if you are going to be successful. That means that you have to be a leader for a small group or a bigger group, or a huge group of thousands and thousands of people. But anyway, somehow you have to learn stuff if you haven't learned it yet, and that is to become a leader, to lead people. And if you're a leader, you got to think twice. Where are you leading your people? So if some leader says, "Oh, this is you don't have to follow anything, you can do whatever you want to do, you don't have to do presentations," and that will duplicate. That means that that organization will have a hard time building a business. But we have a system which is really easy to follow, and you can get some ideas out of it too. And that is, we have the not only 5 minute presentation, we have the 1 minute presentation since we released some new tools on the last cruise, as you remember, the QR code. But anyway, it doesn't matter. We still call it the 5 minute presentation because that's what it is. So we have a 5 minute presentation. How you do that? If you send a link, or if you meet someone, whatever you do, doesn't matter. But it's easy to walk someone through this business on the phone, on a computer, whatever. You can do it really easy, and the other person in the other end can follow, and you can show them a movie. You can tell them about, ask them if they want to make money using their phone. Are you making money using your phone today? Yes or no? No. Okay. Do you want to make money using your phone? You can do something like that. There are various ways. I will not teach you any in details. So the 5 minute presentation. Then we have webinars, and we have home presentation where we go through the business more thoroughly. More, maybe show them the compensation plan, or how they can build a little bit, and how it works with all the system with Affilgo, and in the future how the company thinks. And then we have business presentation, which is more bigger. A webinar is like for a couple of few people, or you meet someone at your home, and then we have a business presentation where there could be 10, 100, maybe 1,000 people in a business presentation, where you go through on slides, you show them the business. And then we have event and super Saturdays. Event is the I can tell you, it's the driving force in this business. You will get it later, but it is. Doesn't matter what we think, or we have our own opinions. So see what we have next. So this is the system. See what we have next slide here. This is system, and we have something that we call money producing activities. And you got this whole training, I will call it. I did this training many years ago, and I called it the management mode. And you will see later why it calls the management mode. But the whole training is about realizing that we working with duplication. That means that people are doing what you are doing, not what you're telling them to do. We are working with a system. The system can work for you. And if we look at this, we have money producing activities. It's what is all this is all about. This is actually, you can have this in several businesses. It doesn't have to be our business, or doesn't have to be this direct sales, or network marketing, direct marketing. It can be duplication in many businesses. Any business that are successful, there is a leader. There's someone that driving the business. Tell the other people, show them what to do. And this is tell, show, teach. So we are learning by doing, which isn't. If you have a piece of pen and paper, I will write this down. Learning by doing. That means that we never ever want to have non-money producing activities uh, in this business, because it will not produce any money. So that's why they call money producing activities. So look here, we have presentations, we have webinars. A follow-up is a money producing activities, and it's so important, because some people, they don't get the business until you really, even it's better to do it in person, but you can do it on phone. But you have to sign them up, you know and there will hardly be any signups if you don't follow-ups. So follow-ups is really important. Some people get leave behind or on the side because they are shown this business, and then all of a sudden it's like, what? Someone forgot to follow up, and there's no sign up. We have something called train by action. That's what I said. We are doing this business learning by doing. So we train our organization. How? Well, we bring them out on the field. We help them show the presentation. They can look at what we are doing, or listening on a webinar, or so on, and catch on what we're saying, how we present the business. But it's trained by action. That means that you'd never ever take someone, okay, let me at your home and I will train you. Because that's not a money producing activity. If you want to have a real good duplication, this business, I learned many years ago a really good analogy, a really good metaphor for how you can see when you start this business, uh, and you want to build it big, because you want to have residual income, you want to have hundreds or thousands of people in your team working. Imagine sitting, and you're starting, and you're by yourself, you just get started, and then see in the future that you have thousands of people in your organization doing money producing activities. Yeah, it's a beauty, isn't it? But at the same time, if you have hundreds of people doing non-money producing activities, that's not so fun. Okay, so this metaphor uh, is actually great, because it teaches us that this is not a 100-meter sprint. This business, our business, is a marathon. Let's say we have an old train. Remember those old train, not the electrical ones, but the other ones, the real old trains who were driven by steam. You have you were had a fire, and the whole train was driven by steam. Those trains were pretty heavy. I mean, probably as heavy as the new train as well. But it's more of a good metaphor if we have that kind of train. So an old steel train with, let's say, 20 um, 20 wagons, 20 carriers on. And if we in the crowd, let's say we take a couple of, say, 1,000 people, and we try to move this train by hand, no engine, it's going to be really hard, because when we try to move this train, it's going to be like, really hard. But if we keep on, and the rail had a slightly, like 0.05, downhill, we will eventually move this train. It will take a lot of effort and a lot of time for us to move it by hand. But when we get it rolling, and we just keep on pushing, and we keep on pushing, and we keep on pushing, we will get this train in motion. And if we have a slight downhill, that train will never stop. That's physics, until there is another force bigger to stop the train, an uphill or That's physics. Another force, something set in motion will not stop, and another force is stopping it. That's physics. And the same law, that same physics moves in this business. So, number one, what do we learn on the metaphor? Well, it takes time. It takes time to build this business. So, and it takes time to get something rolling, and when it starts to roll, you can hardly stop it. That's what we're seeing right now in this business, that we can hardly stop this thing because it's just rolling like crazy. But anyway, so when you're leading on the field in this business, that means that you are in the field. You're not home in your couch. Let's see what we have on the other slide. If you take these presentations, the webinars, the follow-up, the sign-up, the train by action, leading in the field, see what we have on the next slide here. Yeah, if you put those money-producing activities in the system, do they fit? Yes, they do. So follow-up could be on a business, after a business presentation. It could be in someone's home. It could be after the 5-minute presentation. A sign-up could also be in the 5-minute presentation or at an event. So it doesn't really matter. You can see that the money-producing activities fit in the system. Go to the next slide, where we have the non-money producing activities, which a lot of people do because we are humans. Not everyone is trained to be a leader. Not everyone has the courage or the dreams, because the dreams are what are driving people. So when you find out why you do this business, when you have a really driving force behind it, there will be no stop. There will be no stopping on you because you know why you're doing it. But not everyone has those, or not everyone can realize that they are worth it. They have bad self image of themselves and say, oh, I can't do this, I'm too old, or I'm too little, or I'm not too smart, or whatever. But that's not true. That's just a fixation, in their head. But anyway, so not everyone is trained from the beginning. That's why we have these webinars, so we can tell ourselves what to do. So these are non-money producing activities. Netflix, what is that? Well, if you're home watching a movie, eating some, drinking coffee or eating chips in your sofa, that will not produce any money. Internet surfing, people think they're working because they're in front of a computer. No, just because you're in front of a computer doesn't mean that you work. It just means that you're wasting time. Some people are then coming to this industry and they spend a lot of time building, setups and their own systems, and there already is a system in place. If you go out on this in the city, and you tend to hang out in bars, that is not in money producing activities. Of course, we're not saying that you can't go out and spend some time with your friends, but it's a good time to, in that case, build some relationships that you can tell them about the business. But then we have what I said before. I will explain the management mode, because it's a real good metaphor for this business. An office leader, what is that? Well, there's someone who sits, because nowadays when we're at home, that's our office, okay? And some people never go out on the field. I'm not telling you that you have to, but I mean, if you never ever do it, your team will do what you do. They will also sit in front of the computer, never leave home, be an office leader. And it's hard to lead people if you only in front of a screen. You can do it, of course. This technology today leaves you the opportunity. But what I mean is not more like that you're recruiting your business in front of a computer, because that's what we're doing sometimes. What I mean is that people tend to stay home and steer their business and tell everyone else what to do from their office. That's an office leader. So they're, oh, you got to go to this event, and they're staying home themselves. And that is what we call management mode. A management mode imagine this. We're thinking pictures. Management mode is the it's what's killing this business actually, because some people, they get some good results and they start working and they tend to end up in management mode. They sign a couple of people up and then they become a manager, and a manager doesn't have any room in this business. We are not managers, we're leaders. Leaders go out in the field and work with the people. A management mode is like, picture this. You have a group of people, you've signed, let's say you have 5, 10, 20 people, doesn't matter. And every time there's something going on, you show up with your suitcase or with your business portfolio, or whatever, your computer, and you have stopped recruiting yourself, but you show up because you're the manager. You will manage your business. And what do you think your people will catch on if this is about duplication? Well, they will do exactly the same. So everyone soon start up showing up with their suitcases or their portfolios, and hey, how's it going? Not doing any own presentation, not out in the field, leading, working in the field, taking action. They're just managing their business. Such business will eventually stop producing, as you can see. So that's why we should never go into management mode. We should always. There's an example. Some of you have heard of a guy named Dexter Yager. He's famous. He was in an old-fashioned, product company. But listen, that guy never stopped recruiting. And I've learned from the best in this industry, and the best in this industry. And you can't lie to yourself. You can't fool yourself. It's like, well, I'm also like Dexter Yager, but you're not doing it, because that will show. Dexter Yager never stopped recruiting. He recruited a new person every week in his business. He was in this industry for, I don't know, 45, 50 years. He died recently, a couple of years ago. That's the way to do this business. You have to be leading by action. And that's so important, because I have my own stories I can tell you, but we don't have time today. But management mode is a killer for this industry. And I know, we're all different. You don't have to be hung up on anything, that we train. These are principles, but you have to learn them. You have to implement them in your system. Okay, see what we have on the next slide. So we have money producing activities. We have non-money producing activities. And we have showed this before. This is so true. The formula for success. How much time do you spend on the different activities and your results? And this is also, of course, not measured in stone. This is not something like, it could be various percentages. This is just how to show in principle how this works. We spend a lot of time on basics, doing presentations. And if you only do presentations, that is what we don't bring people on these webinars. You don't realize, I think, how much these webinars mean to your business. I don't think you really understand how powerful it is to have someone else train and maybe say the same thing as you're saying or something else, but it's really important to have a place where people can go and get some good inspiration, motivation, because sometimes it tends to be lonely in front of a screen, computer, or wherever you are. So we spend a lot of time. Then we spend time on education. That also gives results. We're not talking about education like these Sunday web. We're talking about more like when you learn the first basics, when you learn the techniques. And then we have event. This is kind of an event, more the Sunday webinars, but it's also in between education and event. But then we have the real events. Like we have one in South Africa coming up. We have one in Manila coming up. We have one in South America coming up. We have one in Europe coming up. And those events is where people get it. They get the big picture. They get that, wow, I'm not alone. That feeling of, seeing thousands of people doing the same thing as yourself, that's really encouraging. And also there's fun, and there's teaching, trainings, people on stage, and there's something that you never ever can get in front of a screen in your living room or in your office if you become an office leader. And that is when you see people, you see the glitter in their eyes when they're on stage, and they are taking, they're giving, um, uh, they're giving, that we bring them up on stage, and we have different levels in this business, of course. And when people are taking the next step in this industry, and you can see people how they develop, how they become better persons, they start learning. And that's something you never ever can do if you don't get together, and if you're not there, and if you're not in, on spot, and you see, when we do recognition on stage. And that's a beauty in this business, because we're all different. And some people, they love that more than anything else. So next slide, see what we have here. Yeah, so this is so important, because you can have a system, you can have the formula for success, and you do your money producing activities, but you gotta you gotta bring it down so it's real. You know, that means that if you have a number, I always work with numbers. That could be like on this slide, a daily income. What are you making today? How much money are you making today? How much money will you make tomorrow? You have it in your head before your organization yourself, so you know what they're gonna accomplish. You can have a weekly number of people you're gonna meet, or you can have, it doesn't matter, but you got to have a number. And it's so important for yourself to bring this down so you can measure how you're doing. A daily income, a monthly income, how much money should you make when this year's end, and so on. So numbers are important in this business, because if you're just working and working, you don't know where you're going, where are you going? And sometimes that could be, successful, but it's more convenient, and it's more real if you put it down on paper with your goals. We're not going to talk in goals here today, but this is a kind of a goal. A daily income is a goal, that you write down for yourself. Okay, see what we have on the last slide here. Yeah. So next webinar, there's always going to be, every meeting is going to lead to a new meeting. So whatever you do, wherever you are, remember that meeting is going to lead to a new meeting. So you don't leave a person hanging. They're exactly knowing when, if they are you meeting them or you're talking to them, that's a meeting, and that meeting should lead to another meeting. So when you hang up the phone or you leave the person, they should know where they're going next. Where are they going? Are they going to an event? Are they have to buy a ticket? Are they signing up for a webinar? Are they meeting you at the hotel for a presentation? Are they going to a business presentation? Or, so every meeting should lead to another meeting. And same thing here. So next webinar, it's next Sunday, and it's the same time. And leaders show up, because if you don't show up, how can you tell? So maybe someone in your team will go like, "Wow, did you hear that webinar? That was fantastic!" And you weren't on yourself. It's like, yeah, it was pretty good. You can't lie, because you got to be a leader. You got to be there yourself, so you can lead your people, and you know what you're talking about when they start talking about stuff. That's leadership. So leaders always show up for these webinars. It's really important. Next Sunday we'll have an interesting powerful momentum builder. So don't miss out, guys. And we have the next slide, and it's thank you and goodbye. All of you are amazing. We are reaching new highs every day, and it's because we are a team together. These webinars, the company, we have the best programmers. I've been talking about that before. We really do. We have the best programmers in the world. That's why this system works. We have visionary people. We have Jonas, who's the founder of this company, the master. We have people coming on board like Johan. We have other guys. We are recruiting. We have an office in Stockholm where there's like 20, 30 people working 24/7 to get to service you guys, so you can have a business, so you can be in business. Now remember guys, leadership is about attitude. A leader never complains, and leader never ever have the time to slow up, to slow down because of small minor issues, because that will never be successful. A leader is leading, and he shows good attitude, positive, motivated, whatever happens, always, always, always good attitude, and tell people that really doesn't matter. Let's recruit some more people and get this going, because action will always solve most problems. That's so true in any business, but also in this business. Okay, guys, it's been a beautiful early Sunday morning. I'm going flying, jumping on a plane here soon, flying to Stockholm, and we see you guys next Sunday. Have a wonderful week and make something out of your life. Don't give up on those dreams, because the dream thieves are out there and they will try to steal it for you, try to complicate your life. Don't listen to them. Listen to these webinars. It's much better. Thank you.